I refused to make my pregnant friend a bridesmaid, and now she's not coming to my wedding. Weddings are supposed to be magical, a celebration of love, commitment, and the people who've stood by your side. But what happens when someone you love, someone who's always been there, suddenly feels left out? This isn't a story about drama. It's a story about friendship, boundaries, and the moment you realize your big day might not feel big for everyone. Today's post from r/AmITheAsshole is about a bride, a best friend, a pregnancy, and one simple decision that ended a decade-long friendship. Because sometimes it's not about the wedding. It's about who's standing next to you and who's not. I'm 29 and getting married in 4 months. We're keeping it small, 80 guests, 4 bridesmaids, 4 groomsmen. I've planned every detail carefully. No chaos, no stress. My best friend Kayla, 30, is 6 months pregnant. We've been close for nearly a decade. She's funny, kind, dependable, and very pregnant. When it came time to choose bridesmaids, I didn't ask her. Not to hurt her, but to protect her. I imagined swollen feet, summer heat, standing around in a fitted dress, long photo shoots. I thought she'd be more comfortable as a guest. So I told her, "You're not a bridesmaid, but I'd love for you to sit front row. Maybe give a toast, be special, just not on her feet all day." Her face dropped. She went quiet, then said, "Wait, I'm not in your bridal party?" I said no, gently, and told her it wasn't about love. It was about comfort and care. But she didn't take it that way. She asked if I was embarrassed by her, if I was afraid she'd ruin the photos or kill the vibe. She said she didn't want a speech or a seat. She wanted to stand by me. Then she said, "If I'm not standing beside you, I won't be there at all." That was 2 weeks ago. She declined the invite, blocked me on Instagram, told mutual friends I cut her out of the most important day of my life. One friend said, "She was there for you through everything, and now that she's the one changing, you left her behind?" I don't know if I did the right thing. I thought I was being kind. Maybe I was just being controlling. So now I'm asking Reddit, am I the asshole for not making my pregnant best friend a bridesmaid, even if it means losing her? This story hurts, not because someone was mean, but because someone tried to be too careful. From the bride's perspective, this wasn't rejection. It was protection, a boundary set with care. But to Kayla, it felt like erasure. Being left out of the bridal party wasn't just about missing a dress or a title. It meant missing a moment, a symbol of closeness, a final memory before life changes forever. The bride didn't mean to hurt her, but maybe she never asked what being included really meant to her friend. So, who's in the wrong? Some say, it's the bride's day. No one is entitled to a role. She made a kind choice. Others argue, you don't cut your best friend out during the most emotional time of her life. Drop your thoughts in the comments. The best replies will be featured in the next episode. Because sometimes, it's not about who's standing beside you at the altar, but who's still standing beside you after the wedding is over. When this story hit Reddit, it created a quiet storm. Because this wasn't just about dresses, it was about recognition. Side 1. Not the asshole. She made a kind decision. Being a bridesmaid is exhausting. She didn't say Kayla wasn't loved, just that she wanted her comfortable. At Healthy Boundaries Bride plus 18.9K, upvotes, you offered love. Inclusion. Support. She turned it into a loyalty test. At VIP Not Victim plus 13.6 Kaneki upvotes. You didn't ask what she wanted. You assumed. That's not kindness. At inclusion is respect, plus 13.1 thousand upvotes. She didn't need a speech. She needed a place beside you. At bridesmaid means best friend, plus 11.8 thousand upvotes. This group believes the bride unintentionally devalued a deep friendship and failed to recognize how important this moment might have been to her friend. Neutral take. A friendship lost in silence. One tried to be careful. One wanted to feel irreplaceable. Neither said what they really felt, and that's why it ended. At nobody asked, but we needed to, plus 15.3 thousand upvotes. So what about you? Was this bride just trying to keep things smooth and respectful? Or did she let control win over compassion? Share your thoughts below. Because in the end, weddings are one day, but friendship is supposed to last much longer. I told my boyfriend to delete all pictures of his ex, and now he's calling me controlling. In every new relationship, there's always a shadow, a memory, a trace of someone who came before. Most of us try to ignore it. We focus on the present. We build something new. But what happens when that shadow is still sitting in the room, in plain sight? Today's story from r/AmITheAsshole isn't about jealousy. It's about boundaries, respect, and the question no couple wants to ask out loud: how much of your past are you allowed to keep when you're promising someone your future? One girlfriend asked her boyfriend to delete the photos of his ex. He called her controlling. Now she's asking Reddit and us, was she out of line? Or just asking for emotional clarity? I'm 27F, dating a 28M for about 9 months. We just moved in together. He's been loving, kind, and honest, and I feel good about us. Mostly. But here's the thing. He had a long-term relationship before me. 6 years. They lived together, traveled, raised a dog. They broke up a year before we met. I don't have an issue with his past. But one night, while scrolling through his Instagram with his permission, I saw it. Not one or two, but dozens of photos with his ex. Romantic dinners, anniversaries, trips, cuddling, her asleep in his arms. It felt intimate, too present. I didn't confront him right away, but it sat with me for days. So one night I told him, I know she's part of your story, and I respect that. But I'd feel more comfortable if you deleted those photos. He went quiet, then said, they're old memories. I don't revisit them. I'm with you now. Isn't that enough? I replied, if they don't mean anything, why keep them? That's when he got upset. He told me I was being controlling, that I was asking him to erase a part of who he was. He said, I'd never ask you to delete your past. The irony? I already had. I deleted my couple photos when we got serious. Not because he asked, but because I felt like it was time to let go. Now I don't know. Was I asking too much? Or is he holding on to more than just pictures? Reddit. Am I the asshole? This isn't really about photos. It's about emotional residue. From her side? She doesn't want to erase his past. She just wants to stop feeling like she's standing next to it. The pictures aren't just images. They're quiet comparisons, unspoken questions. Was she more special? Was he happier then? From his side? They're just digital memories, not emotional ones. Deleting them feels like rewriting his life. He's not reaching out to his ex. He's not hiding anything. So what's the harm? So we ask, when you love someone new, do you owe them a blank slate? Deleting photos is a small gesture of respect for the new person in your life. You don't need to erase the past to prove you've moved on from it. What do you think? Is she protecting herself? Or being possessive? Is he holding on? Or just being honest about his past? Share your thoughts below. The wisest comments will be featured in our next episode, because sometimes it's not the photos that hurt, it's the silence behind them. Not the asshole. It's about respect. She's not asking him to forget, just not to display a relationship that's over. At Love Me Now, plus 19.4 thousand upvotes. She deleted her old pictures without being asked. He couldn't do the same when asked. That speaks volumes. At New Chapter Only, plus 16.7k upvotes. Nung ngoy nai hokogay, cho rang jai la ran gyoy hop li, hong fai kiem soat. Side 2. YTA, the past isn't a threat. Photos don't equal feelings. This is her issue with insecurity, not his with attachment. At Memory Matters, plus 15.1k upvotes, he let her scroll freely. That's transparency. She made it about power. At Jealousy Is Not Love, plus 13.3 thousand upvotes. Neutral take. They're not wrong, they're just not aligned. This isn't about deleting photos. It's about speaking different emotional languages and not realizing it until it hurts. At Silent Conflict, plus 17.3k upvotes. So, what do you think? Is this girlfriend setting a healthy boundary? Or is she crossing a line in the name of love? Let us know in the comments, because sometimes the past doesn't come back to haunt us. We carry it ourselves. I asked my boyfriend to stop sleeping over at his female best friend's place, and he called me controlling. There's something everyone who's ever been in love will understand. Love isn't just made from romantic gestures and magical moments. It's shaped, quietly, sometimes painfully, by boundaries. The kind no one talks about, until they're crossed. In a relationship, you can trust your partner. You can be calm, secure, and open. But does that mean you're comfortable with everything? Sometimes, what unsettles us doesn't come from jealousy, but from the quiet need to feel like we're someone's first choice. And then comes the question, if he regularly sleeps over at his female best friend's place? Is that harmless friendship? Or has a line been crossed? Today's story from r/AmITheAsshole doesn't begin with cheating. No secret messages, no late-night confessions, just a girl in love with a guy. A guy who seems to already have a woman filling an emotional role, even if she's just a friend. She didn't ask him to cut ties. She didn't accuse him of anything. She simply said, "Please stop sleeping at her place." And what did he say? "You're just like my ex. You don't trust me." So now she's wondering, is she really being unreasonable? Or just asking to be prioritized? I'm a 26-year-old woman, and I'm in love with a 27-year-old man. Someone I truly believe could be my future life partner. We've been together for almost a year. Our love has deepened. We've started sketching out plans for the future. We've talked about moving in together, sharing finances, even going on long trips. He's thoughtful, funny, and has a warm heart. But in that heart, there always seems to be a space reserved for someone else. Emma. Emma, 28, has been his best friend since high school. They were in the school drama club together, went on road trips across states, even called each other soulmates, but soulmates just as friends. And I believe him. When we first started dating, he was up front. There's never been anything romantic between me and Emma. She's family. I wasn't jealous. I have close male friends, too. I understand the purity of some cross-gender friendships. At first, I even found it cute when they called each other silly nicknames or messaged, "Have a good day," every morning. But then, there was this small detail which slowly grew into a thorn in my heart. He often sleeps over at Emma's place, not just once because he was drunk, not because the rain was too heavy to drive back, but very regularly. One night I texted, "Want to see each other tonight?" He replied, "I'm going to Emma's. We're cooking dinner, watching a movie. I might stay over." Stay over. He always says, "I sleep on the couch." But I started wondering, is there something else lying between that couch and the bed? I didn't get angry. I didn't interrogate him. I just kept those feelings folded inside, neatly, quietly. But more and more, I started feeling like the third wheel in my own relationship. I started fearing, not that he was hiding something, but that I wasn't important enough for him to reconsider his actions. One night, after he said he was heading to Emma's again, I gathered all my courage and gently said, "I don't want to stand in the way of your friendship, but could you stop sleeping over at her place? It really makes me uncomfortable." I said it with sincerity, in a voice without anger, only vulnerability. He was silent for a few seconds. Then, he gave a faint smile. But it wasn't the warm smile I knew. It felt like a sigh disguised as a smile, one that said, "Yet another person who doesn't understand me." He said, "You sound just like my ex. She always tried to make me cut off Emma. You don't trust me. And if there's no trust, maybe we shouldn't continue." I didn't know how to respond. I just stayed quiet. In my head, a question kept echoing. Am I really the one in the wrong? Am I being too sensitive? Or do I just want to feel like I matter more? I haven't brought it up again. But every time he sleeps over at Emma's, I lie in my room, staring at the ceiling, and I wonder, is that best friend sleeping more peacefully than I am? This isn't just a story about a girl who loves a boy, nor is it merely about someone sleeping over at a best friend's house of the opposite sex. This is a story about emotional boundaries, about priorities, and about the kind of things in love that can't be measured by right or wrong, only felt with the heart. She doesn't blame him for having a close female friend. She never asked him to cut ties. She simply made a small request. Could you stop sleeping over at her place? And let's be clear, she didn't say this with anger, jealousy, or ultimatums. She said it from a place of growing hurt, a quiet feeling that she wasn't his top priority. And in a serious relationship, isn't that something everyone hopes for? She doesn't see Emma as a threat,